So what are we chatting about today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You were talking earlier about the cost of building materials and everything, but really what we're talking about today is super important. If it's a little bit philosophical, but it's something that I've been taught for many, many, many years in the insurance industry. Let's see if I can get this out correctly. If you can afford to lose something, then do not insure it.
If you can't afford it, then insure it.
Right.
Insure it.
If you can't afford to lose it, then you can't afford not to insure it. So that's what we wanted to talk about today. So on the part about if you can afford to lose it, don't insure it. Okay.
Right.
Say that on your auto, your vehicle.
Right.
You're like, okay, I'm never going to turn a claim in that's under $1,000 because I don't want to claim on my record. Then have a $1,000 deductible. Don't pay for a $500 deductible if you're not going to, get the savings. So if you've decided, if I have a collision or I have something damage my vehicle, I can absorb the first $1,000, then have the $1,000. If it's an old vehicle,
like some of them I have, like the Miata, if I put comp and collision on that, I don't need comp and collision on that vehicle. I would get a scratch and then go, yeah, that's not going to work. The whole vehicle's totaled.
So if you're not going to repair it, if something happens, don't have physical damage insurance on it.
Right.
Yeah, because there's no sense paying for something you don't need.
Good point.
Yeah, and so there's so many applications to that.
Right.
A good one, I think, and something that happened recently to somebody that we know. When we think of insurance, in our job, we offer all the coverages, or try to offer all the coverages to make sure people know what's available. But some people are only concerned about, for example, on your house. Say that somebody has an older home, whatever, and say that they would not replace the roof if there was hail. They're just not going to. They're not going to spend the money. But if there was a fire, they would, of course, want to rebuild the house.
Right.
Well, then you can... I wouldn't recommend excluding wind and hail coverage because, God forbid, we have a tornado and it really takes your house out. It's more than just your roof. But you can put a separate, really high deductible for wind and hail, and
that will negate this cost of the actual premium that is associated with that. Right. By increasing the deductible, you're decreasing the premium because you're putting some of the risk on yourself. Thus, the insurance company can't charge you back what they're not providing coverage for.
Yeah, and another thing that we always say, if it's a piece of property, whether it is your house, your car, your gun, your jewelry, whatever, what it would cost to replace that.
Right.
That is a number that you know. But what a number you do not know is how much liability insurance you need if you have a car accident and hurt somebody, or if you're in a business and there's a lawsuit against your business because somebody was injured. So we would rather people, depending on, everybody has different circumstances, if you can afford to cover this piece of property yourself, put that money into higher liability limits, which is something you can't always put a number on.
Right.
And then the other side of this, if you can't afford to lose it, then you can't afford not to insure it.
Right.
So that if people think, oh, well, I can't afford insurance, get a quote. Just find out what it's going to cost.
Just find out what it would be, just in case.
And communicate with the agent that's quoting, this is what I'm worried about. I don't have much money to put into this premium, but I'm worried about losing this. They can sometimes...
They can work around it.
Work around it.
Some agents only have one company, others have multiple companies. Some companies have different workarounds. Like there are some out there that will only insure your home for liability or property damage, not both. You can get both, but you have to put it together. So there are different ways to cover the risk that you're worried about.
I have an example, and this was not anybody in Graham's. Everybody's always somebody in another city, but they purchased a very large former manufacturing plant that they were going to do a lot of work to. Well, the prior owner, there had been a hailstorm, and the prior owner collected over $1 million in the insurance for the damage to the roof, but they didn't replace the roof. And the person buying the place knew that. They got a really good deal on it. Well, they told us that going in. We didn't have to find out, oh, you have a roof that wouldn't. And it's not a standard company, but we went to a what we call a surplus lines or excess company that wrote the policy and excluded the roof. So there's all kinds of things is our point really. There's all kinds of things.
It's just the
that you
main
can
thing
do.
is that if you have a question or you don't sure or you're like, okay, it's kind of like I guess buying a car maybe is like, okay, this is how much money I have to spend on this. What can I get?
Yeah, we would all love to have the whatever kind of car we would all love to have, but we know what we can afford, and it's not all, most of the time it's not the same as what we would really like to have. So.
Right.
But still, then we buy the car and we still can't afford it.
That's true. That's a whole, and then there's
That's a whole different
Then the
story.
insurance is so high. on the
Yes.
car.
That's the philosophical reasoning of the middle class. There's you can take a whole college semester on that.
Well, that's true. But if you have questions on these things, because I mean, like you say, Sonia, I've heard you say it a zillion times that you know you can't afford to be without it.
A lot of times you can't.
You
That's
know?
true. Yeah.
You can't afford to be without it. And if you say, well, I just can't afford it, well, then maybe you need to look at a different situation in your life because you could get into trouble. We're finding out almost daily people are saying, well, I wasn't insured. Now what do I do?
Yeah, I can't believe people would not have homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
You just gotta.
I know, but it
Yeah.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
You don't have to have it. I mean,
No, you don't
It's
have
your
to,
home.
but-
I mean, you can make
Right.
that is a personal decision up to you to make. It's kind of like when some people say, "Oh, but you have to have auto insurance." I was like, "Oh no, you really don't. You got two choices. You either don't drive,
Oh, yeah.
or you self-insure. I mean, there are possible ways of self-insuring.
Well, I mean, if
your
I
auto.
had like
But-
a couple $100,000 sitting
Exactly,
around
exactly.
that I wasn't doing anything with, I'd say, okay, well, maybe I need to be taking care of my house. But
So Rick probably self-insures. He's so rich.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, we do.
No, he's got a plan of living in the trans van.
The
later.
trans van. Where is the trans van these days?
it's at the body shop.
Oh, it's still there. The body shop?
Of course,
Well,
because
it's painted.
never mind.
Okay. How long is it gonna take them to paint it?
Or we're trying to find a windshield.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
You're all good.
Oh, I'm good.
Nothing to see here. You're all right. Okay. All right. If folks have questions and they get a hold of you guys, how is the way to do it?
Oh, they can come see us at Bryan Insurance on the second floor Ciera Bank building or call us at the Graham location at 940-549-2525.
You can also visit us in Hudson Oaks at 2950 Fort Worth Highway, Suite 500. Phone number is 817-770-0096.
Or visit us online at bryanins.com.
That's Brian with a Y.
All right. Well, okay. I got that all.
We practice
wrapped up.
this in the break room on
We don't
Tuesdays.
really have anything to do on
What's,
Tuesdays. There's
what's
so
sad is I've done so many ball games now, I can quote everything y'all just said.
that's good.
Except for the Hudson Oaks address.
That's what we
I still
want.
can't do the Hudson Oaks address
I mean,
myself.
I had a cheat sheet. I'm trying to memorize it. I mean, I know exactly where it is and I can describe it, but then we start
Right.
advertising for a bunch of other businesses that we don't want to do.
It's easy to remember the Ciera Bank building because I used to run up and down the hallways in my diaper, so you know it's all good.
He still does, people. So go up and visit Brad Bryan.
Okay. Well, I guess we will see both of y'all at Lions Club later
We
today.
will.
Yeah. We'll be there.
Okay. I'll see you at the office before Lions Club.
Okay. I'll get you.
Okay.
I got doctor this morning.
Let me know if you're going to live.
Hopefully.
Because you know, we discussed earlier, I'm a worst case
By the
scenario.
way, EMC can quote life insurance in 5 minutes.
He has life insurance.
Oh, I've got plenty.
I cannot
That's why
afford,
she's wanting to know.
I can't afford to replace him.
She's planning her trip already, Brad.
That's right.
Hey Matt, what can't you sell a ghost?
I don't know.
Life insurance.
Ah.
Okay, it's time to get
And anyway,
the clock out
All right.
and go in.